Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram.
Hi, I'm Dennis Hawk, and this podcast is called The Revival. That's it, The Revival. We want to help change the vibe of the planet. That sounds grandiose. Or at least do our part in doing that, changing the vibe. So I want to explore several ways or several topics that I think can start to move us in that direction. First, let's look at the impact of music on our bodies, our minds, our emotions, our entire self, and how it moves and shapes society as well. Second, examining the roots of Kirtan, the form of music that I do for meditation. Third, I'd like to take a deep dive into mythology and symbolic language and the stories that shape our lives today. Fourth, and this is kind of personal, the unique capacity of the Native American flute and how it shaped my life over the past 30 years. And finally, and this certainly isn't the least, is the spirituality that for me enfolds all of it and all of the work that I do. Now, our hope is that we can do our part to influence the tone of the global community from one of turmoil and conflict to one of love and compassion. Yeah, it's a tall order, but all we can do is our part, right? So when I think about the great divisions in the United States right now and throughout the world, I envision a brighter road. It's a road of compassion and love that I witnessed in my day with Dr. Martin Luther King, or Mahatma Gandhi in India, or Nelson Mandela in South Africa. When the Black Panther Party in the 1960s and 70s came forth and they started talking about Black power, Dr. Martin Luther King's answer to Black power was, I don't want white power, I don't want Black power, I want soul power. Now, it's not that he backed down from his truth, but he always colored his truth in compassion and love. And I'd like to see that as a model. And Kirtan expresses this kind of third road, speaking truth in love, always showing compassion. Now, as a music marketer, gosh, I spend a lot of time in my day in the world of social media pitching my music to various yoga and kirtan groups throughout the world. And the thought occurred to me one day. I was pondering, what an impact these groups have in their individual places throughout the world. And that these are really islands of hope, nurturing and uplifting those people around them. And so I thought, what would happen if these powerful, love-centered groups united to form a global network? Could their collective energy have a ripple effect of hope that might bring a balance to this increasingly hostile world? Well, the idea sparked a fire in me, kind of igniting a sense of purpose and determination. Now, at the same time, I was musing about our state of affairs of the world right now, things like justice turned to injustice, compassion to hate, the hungry aren't being fed, my litany, right? The thirsty have nothing to drink, the poor have lost hope, the sick are not being healed, greed has become the norm, those kinds of things. As I was thinking those kind of things. And then Trump has just taken office in the U.S., flanked by Bibi Netanyahu in Israel, Putin in Russia, Xi in China, Modi Ji in India, and two very, very hot wars, one in Gaza and one in Ukraine. Yes, like the world is chaos in color. And as I was catastrophizing and the whole thing was falling apart, it was during this time of sort of reflection, I guess you'd call it that, March year 2025, that I got a request from a young woman named Rhapsody Namtu, who lives in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Now, Rhapsody was a friend of mine on Facebook, and so since she'd requested a video chat, I agreed. And first thing that Rhapsody let me know was that she has seen me in a concert a decade ago and that this Kirtan concert had really changed the focus and course of her life. Wow. I don't often hear the results of my work. Well, she's now a massage therapist, a yoga teacher, a Reiki master, and an absolute lover of Kirtan. So during the phone call, she asked me this very simple, but I believe very profound question. Do you think if we could get 1 million people chanting, we could change things in the world for good? Now, without a moment's hesitation, I said, yes. And thus the revival was born, a movement fueled by the power of music and community and love and compassion. Now, Carl Jung's concept of collective unconscious refers to that part of our unconscious mind that's shared among humans, containing memories, experiences, and knowledge inherited from our ancestors. I've heard this concept stated over and over and over in sweat lodges and Native American ceremonies that I've had the privilege to attend. And the words that are used are mitakwese in Lakota or Indenawe Magan in Ojibwe. Both of these concepts mean all my relations, or we are all related, and that means everything and everyone. The concept highlights the deep interconnection of everything, including the two-leggeds. Now, if you buy into this concept that all things are interconnected in some way, then what comes next probably won't be of a great surprise to you. It's called the Maharishi effect, put forward by Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, an Indian spiritual leader who came to the U.S. in the 1960s and 1970s and founded the Transcendental Meditation movement. Now, I had not heard of the Maharishi effect until we were doing a Zoom call for Th3 R3vibal, and a man named Andy Topol, who is currently doing massage and yoga and Kirtan in Ukraine, mentioned it. Andy is a graduate from the Maharishi International University in Fairfield, Iowa. And he explained it this way. The Maharishi effect is a phenomenon where a group of individuals practicing meditation influences the surrounding environment in a positive way. Now, one study that was done in 1988 by the Journal of Social Indicators concluded that when a critical mass of meditators was present in a community, there was a correlating decrease in violent crime rates in that area. Now, what makes sense to me is this, that the more positive, compassionate, and loving people that there are in a given area, the more the needle tips in that direction. It's kind of like the old spiritual said, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Yeah, the influence goes out like dropping a pebble in a pond in concentric circles. Now, Kirtan, the music practice that I do, is meditation. So if the Maharishi effect stands true, the more people that we have chanting Kirtan, the better off society is. So when Rhapsody asked me if we could change things, if we got 1 million people chanting, I said yes. But this certainly won't happen without a lot of work. So my challenge to myself and to those who may be listening is this. Let's create the revival, connecting the chant groups first throughout the world into a unified voice, while at the same time working toward that 1,000,000th chanter. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, I'll be exploring several topics as we move forward in time. First, the impact of music on us individually and on society. Also exploring Kirtan, the music that I do for meditation. Then, one of my great passions is mythology and symbolic language, and so we'll be delving into that. And then the uniqueness of the Native American flute that's been part of my journey for the past 30 years, both as a crafter and a player. And finally, the spirituality that unfolds all of it, all of the work that I do. So I'll be doing some teaching podcasts, but also be doing some interviews as well with others around the globe with similar interest. And I look forward to connecting with you in this way. And namaste, my friends.
Sri Ram Jai Ram, Jai